Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up this screen. Oh, boy. The Florida fans are in shock, and they are definitely in disarray. And I've been spending some time on social media, YouTube, other places, Twitter, and they are not happy, to say the least, and I can understand why. You know, the nice thing about winning that game against Pittsburgh, and there's a lot of nice things about it, is when you're done and is with this team. You know, I told you if we won this Pittsburgh game at Pittsburgh, we were going to be feeling like this.
Well, you just never know when another beast might come down out of the forest. You understand, don't you, Thumb Lou?
Absolutely. We never know when another beast is going to come out of that forest. Well, we got another beast coming in a couple of weeks, the Gators, and that is a beast. Now, I've spent some time on social media, etc., and checking out YouTube, and Florida folks are in disarray right now. They're in total shock. They really thought they had their quarterback of the future, and they may very well. You know, maybe Anthony Richardson turns it around, but the performance that he had has got them really shaken, and they're struggling with dealing with it. And actually, I was watching this one YouTuber, and he's actually pretty good at it. And, you know, he came out after the game and did a reaction to the loss and did like a live stream, which is hard to do after a big loss like that. You know, I would have been worse than he was. So I'm not like digging at him or anything, but this is kind of how they feel.
Oh boy. Oh Lord, 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 Lord. Boys. This one, man, I don't want to be too critical this soon, but I know that the call for AR is hot and heavy. Is Florida, you know, I'm sure people are frustrated with Billy. I know that for a fact. Kudos to the defense for sure. Defense looked great. Play calling was questionable. AR concerned me. The AR concerned me. There was times where I felt like he could have turned it around, and he didn't. And that was frustrating. That scares me. I see you guys kind of in there. I don't want to be that typical fan where it's like, you know, sail the ship. Let's move on from AR. But wow, I don't know. It looked like he throws the ball 9,000 miles an hour, and that's about it. You know, and that's where it was frustrating. I mean, even here at the end here, where it's like, look, you've got nothing to lose, just fling it. He couldn't fling it.
Yep, and that's a pretty honest interpretation of how the game went for Florida. I watched the game as well, and I'm sure they're very frustrated. I was kind of shocked. I thought Anthony Richardson was going to come out and play really well, and they would beat Kentucky without too much trouble down in the swamp, because it's really hard to play in the swamp. It's as difficult as any place in the country. The fans down there just get crazy, and they love their Gators. I think that's a pretty honest reaction to how most of the Gators folks feel right now, because believe me, they were on cloud nine after beating Utah. They were feeling fantastic. They had their quarterback of the future, and he looked amazing. I mean, he looked like the next coming of a Heisman winner. And then what they saw against Kentucky was something very, very different. And he does throw the ball really hard, but his accuracy is very marginal, and his decision-making, once you take away the run, he struggles. And that's what Stoops did. He said, okay, you might beat me with your arm, but you're not going to beat me with your legs. And he put a spy on him. And if you watch that game, there was a linebacker the entire time that kept his eye on him in every offensive play. Now, if they ran the ball, the linebacker would go in there and he'd tackle the running back. But if he didn't, he just kept his eyes on that quarterback the entire time and tried to figure out where he was going. And the second Richardson tried to run, he was on him. And, of course, it was their most athletic linebacker. Because even if you put a spy on him, he'd better be a fast spy, and he'd better be tough and strong, because Richardson's a freak athlete. So, yeah, I definitely think it was like this for Florida fans watching that Kentucky game.
This sucks more than anything that has ever sucked before.
Yep, it sucked. Now, we'll be playing Akron this weekend, which, like I said, I've told you I think is going to be kind of a scrimmage game. But, you know, we'll get to see a lot more out of our guys, and it'll be more relaxed atmosphere. You know, they're not going to be feeling a whole lot of stress, so I expect they'll probably look really good. And Florida's going to do the same thing. They'll get Anthony Richardson looking good against, I think they're playing like Florida Southern or something, so they shouldn't have too much trouble with them. and they'll probably get his confidence built back up. Look, they're coming into our version of the Swamp, which is Neyland Stadium, Rocky Top, and it's going to be brutal. I'm telling you, the tickets are already basically gone, okay? People are wanting those tickets so bad they can't stand it. This is going to be one of the most watched games in a long, long time between Florida and Tennessee. It's going to be like the old days. And I definitely like our chances because, I can appreciate how that guy feels and how all the Florida people feel, because had we lost the Pittsburgh game, I would have been really upset. But I would have been upset because we gave the game away with 2 turnovers and a blocked punt in the second half. That would have been why we lost. It wasn't because our quarterback was, struggling or whatever, even though he had a bad first quarter. Look, he looked good the rest of the game, and in the overtime he was unbelievable. So, I've got a lot of faith in our quarterback because he played so well last year. And, they don't have that. This guy's only had 3 starts, and he's been great or not very good at all. So they don't know what they've got there. So, who knows what's going to happen over the next few weeks at quarterback position at Florida. But we know where we are, barring any injuries, we're real comfortable with our quarterback. Now we're going to talk about our coach, Heupel. And this is actually an article. It says Jalen Hyatt explains why Vols play so hard for Heupel. And this is very important when it comes to recruiting, very important. And Jalen Hyatt says he believes in us. When you have a head coach that believes in you, believes in what you can do, it makes your game go to a whole nother level. He said, when I was going through my struggles last year, he believed in me. Even last year, he said, that's why I go so hard. He says, that's why this team goes so hard, because he believes in us. And I can tell you, you hear that all the time when the recruits come and spend a weekend with the Vols, of what a family atmosphere it is and how much they like Heupel and the coaches. And the way that works, if your head coach is a positive guy and he's authentic and he's successful like our coach is, that bleeds all down through. If he's an a-hole, then you're going to have a bunch of a-holes. But if you've got a really good coach, it's going to bleed down through everything else. And that's what we've got with Heupel. And these recruits are seeing it. Let me tell you something. Winning that Pittsburgh game away on national television is going to help us with recruiting a lot. I mean, a whole bunch. Because the recruits that are coming, that are committed to us, were very excited. They were on Twitter. They were everywhere talking it up. And let me show you this. And this is our edge rusher. He's a 5-star on Rivals, I think it is, and a 4-star with 247. And that's Chandavian Bradley. But, I think he's a 5-star. But, like I said, they're calling him a 4-star here.
Some folks call it a sling blade. I call it a Gator blade.
But he's the number 1 player out of Missouri, and everybody was after him, and he has committed. And he watched the game at Pittsburgh, but he said, I'm ready to ball out for you guys. He said in a message directed towards Tennessee fans, he said, wherever I'm needed is where I'm going to play. He said, so I love you guys, and I love all the comments. I get on everything. You guys show me so much love and support. And he thanked the Tennessee Vol fans. Said he had a terrific game against Platte County on Friday. Said he had 2 strip sacks, 1 safety, 1 block punt recovery, some tackles for loss, and even hauled in a 38-yard touchdown pass. I think he plays a tight end as well. When you've got a freak athlete, you're going to put him all over the field on offense and defense because you're crazy not to. And he's talking to guys that are actually committed to some other teams about coming to UT, and he's trying to recruit them. Says David Hobbs, who's a big-time recruit, says he's still looking out for him. Actively targeting for Tennessee. He said, I'm trying my best, seeing if I can get TJ Searcy to flip, just doing my best to do whatever I can on the recruiting trail. So he's helping us a bunch with recruiting. Said Hobbs is a 6'4", 260-pound 4-star defensive lineman out of North Carolina, and he's a big dog. And then Searcy's a 4-star Florida commit under Billy Napier. And we were in the running for him, but he's trying to get him to flip. So in recruiting, this kind of thing really matters. First of all, winning helps a lot. But the other thing is, if you'll notice, the ratings for that game were huge. They were up around 4 or 5 million people watched that game. And the thing about Tennessee football, it's incredibly fun to watch and it's popular. We had real good ratings that day with the Pittsburgh game. There were millions of people watched it. And it's becoming must-see TV because the offense is so exciting. And recruits want to play in an offense that's like that. And they want to play on defense because it's just the whole thing's exciting and it's fun. It's kind of taken on a life of its own. And, Heupel look, I told you I think we've got the best coach in the country given our circumstances. We were very fortunate to get him. And look, I'll be the first to tell you, I was not excited about his hire. I was not. I thought, White's just bringing in a guy that he could get. Well, I could not have been more incorrect on that. I just thought he was going to be very average. He's done a great job, and his recruiting, I think, is only going to improve. Now, we got to win. There's no doubt. But I feel really good about this Florida game, especially given the fact they're very uncertain at quarterback right now. And the thing about Florida is, if they get hot and they start winning, they're really, really hard to beat. They're kind of a feast or famine type of team. But if they start losing or getting down or start losing confidence, they'll win 4 games. They'll have a team that literally go from winning 11 games to 4 because that's just kind of how they are. They're either way on top and beating everybody, or they're just down on themselves and they just start getting beat by everybody. So we've got a big week coming up. I know we'll take care of Akron. And like I say, we just need to get in there, play that first half, get our starters out, don't get anybody hurt, and look forward to that Florida game. It's going to be the biggest game in a very long time at Neyland Stadium, and I like our chances a lot. We might end up jumping on them and really wearing them out. Or it could be a really close game and Florida could win. They usually do beat us, and that's going to be the psychology that we've got to get past. But I really like our chances in this game, and I could not be more excited about it. And I can tell you the Florida fans, they're not sure what to think right now. If you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. I just started this a couple months ago. I could use some subscribers. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.